It's a rule that brings like quantity and just stuff to the center of our minds. And this rule is ultimately more than anything about quantity. That's all that is really happening here, is just this focus on quantity. And for me, quantity is not the most important metric of stuff ownership. I mean, like, it plays a role, sure, because as I talked about in that past video, there's owning too little and there's owning too much, and there's a lot of that middle ground where most people will probably find some happiness. And unless you're in this category of truly too much, overwhelm, anxiety, all of that, unless you're in that space, how much you own, whether you have 600 things versus 677 things, that's probably like not gonna make or break your life and your happiness and your contentment, and your functionality. There are so many things that matter to me more than quantity. And if I want to be intentional about how I shop, which is one of the things I like about this, there are ways that are better. Like, there are other questions you can ask yourself if you want to be intentional, instead of what do I have to get rid of in order to bring this thing in. And when you think about, owning 600 things versus 677 things, will those extra 77 items will owning 77 items less make you happier? Will it make your life more functional? Will owning more stuff impede your ability to live your life? Will owning fewer things make you happier and more content? The difference between 600 and 677. Will it? For me, I don't think so. This method also seems kind of disingenuous to me. It seems the only word that I can really think about is kind of artificial. Like, you are forcing your own hand to declutter something. Because why? Because like what a rule told you to, minimalism told you to. This to me is the equivalent of minimalism told me so. I know that's not like really it. And I feel like there's someone using me up in the comments being like, you're missing the point. No, I'm not missing the point. I get it's supposed to help you. I get that it's supposed to help you shop intentionally. But if you actually follow through with the rule and you get rid of something, you're forcing yourself to get rid of something simply because you brought something in, not because it makes the most sense, not because it is like a good choice, simply because you brought something in. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of this rule to me is its promise of helping you shop more intentionally. This rule is not meant for people who currently struggle with shopping. This rule is meant for people who already have good shopping habits in place. So if you're somebody who's struggling with your shopping habits, I just don't recommend this rule as the thing to go to become more successful with your shopping habits. One thing I read time and time again was that it will help you stop impulse buying. It will help you stop impulse buying if you are aware of your triggers and your cues, and having any kind of structure to your shopping or any kind of rules. If having any will stop you from shopping, then this could. Now, me at the early part of my no-buy / before my no-buy, the reason why I wasn't successful with things like budgets is because having rules didn't stop me from shopping, because rules don't address triggers. You're not just going to magically overnight, because you want to stop impulse buying. You need to address the cues. This rule doesn't address the cues. So as an example, if our emotions are really predominant cue for us, if we have a bad day at the office, that we have a negative emotion, that triggers the whole habit loop, if it is actually a trigger or a cue for you. The 1 in, 1 out rule will not stop you from going to the mall or the shops on your way home, or scrolling on your way home, Or one of my personal favorites was stopping by at Union Station when I was taking the train home. I made so many regret purchases there because I had to go to Union. I was waiting for the train. I bought $110 worth of RMS eyeshadows on a freaking whim on my way home from school. Did I use them? No. You get the point. If you want to shop, if you want to change the way you shop and be a more mindful consumer, even if you have good shopping habits, there are just better ways. There are better ways where you're not thinking about how much stuff you have all of the time. I also think there's potential for this rule to kind of create or start, manufacturing some guilt associated with shopping stuff, because what if you don't get rid of something? And then you can just kind of maybe feel this anxiety about having to get rid of something